Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 94 of Muscle Asylum Radio in something of Muscle Asylum TV. Today we are joined by all bar one, and the reason why we're the bar one because we can only fit 4 fat heads in the screen at one time. But we've got Alpha Ethos Thomas, Mick the Gift Galley, all the way from Texas or wherever the fuck you are at the moment, and he's back, the angry Russian, Andreas Taderos. What's been happening, my big-eared friend?
Fucking nothing much. I've been very, very sick since late February, early March, and I've just started coming good the last couple of weeks. Apart from that, I've just been working, doing a number of house projects, looking after a very, very sick dog of one of our dogs that's about to pass away. But apart from that, nothing much.
You've got some pretty big insects on the wall behind you there. That spider's freaking me out. The scorpion I like because I'm a Scorpio, but that spider really fucking freaks me out.
Oh, that's a tarantula.
Yeah.
Figured that.
Yeah. It doesn't look like a little...
They grow in my backyard.
Yeah, sweet. Tell us a little bit about you and being sick. Do you want to tell us about how you were sick or talk about that? Because you were prepping for the state qualifiers and... You were planning on doing pretty much nearly all states and then going over doing the Arnolds and then the Arnolds in Brazil. Then you had to pull out. What happened there?
Basically, I had a number of investigations. I had an, gastroscopy and endoscopy, and basically they found out that I had severe gastritis, severe esophagitis, and I had bile reflux. So a lot of inflammation in my stomach. From the blood tests and the stool tests they did, I was anemic, even though I was eating 300 grams of beef a day. I was magnesium deficient, calcium deficient, vitamin D deficient. I was deficient in a number of different amino acids, and my body, or the cells in my stomach, weren't producing enough gastric acid to actually break down the food. So I also went into adrenal fatigue as well.
Oh, wow. And you're coming good now. So why does it take you so long? Why did it take you so long to recover from that?
Well, I had to basically, I had to do all these investigations to find out what was wrong with me. Then I had to basically start building my HCl production in my stomach again. I have got a very, very bad tendency, and I'm sure a lot of other people do, of not actually chewing their food. I tend to eat my carbohydrates and fats first as opposed to protein, so that inhibits HCl production. I tend to drink a lot of fluid before, during, and after I eat, which again dilutes HCl production. So I've had to basically re-educate and relearn how to eat properly.
When you talk about eating your carbs and your fats before your protein, are you talking about the order in which you're eating your meal? So if you've got a steak with avocado and potato, you will eat the avocado and potato before you eat the steak.
Yeah, that's right. When it should be the other way around.
Has anyone else ever thought about the importance of the order in which they eat their macronutrients? Because I never have in my life. Chris?
I must admit, I haven't, no.
To be honest, man, I've eaten the meat portion first for about probably the last 5 years.
Yes, I do that just purely out of the fact that I don't like the meat. That's my least favourite part of the meal, so I'd rather get that out of the way. Yeah, right. And what else did you do, Andre?
So I basically, I also did a H. pylori test. I came back with that bacteria as well. So I had to go on it's called a triple therapy stack of antibiotics and protein pump inhibitors to basically kill this bacteria. And it involves, 26 tablets a day of medication.
Did you self-medicate yourself, or was this actually prescribed by a doctor? Because I know what you're like. You know a lot more than most doctors, so you're probably self-prescribing.
I told the doctors what to prescribe me. Once I came back with a positive test from the breath test, I told her what medication to prescribe me and what dose. So did that, and then from that I had to basically, so 3 times a day I had to take 20 mils of Swedish bitters.
Swedish bitters. What's that? And what
Yeah.
was the purpose of that?
Well, that basically just, that one, it basically gets your esophagus and your stomach ready to basically accept food. It also increases saliva production, bile production in anticipation of eating. So it's all just herbs and stuff like that. And then before I eat the meal, I have to have about 5 to 10 ml of apple cider vinegar. And then halfway through the meal, I have to have a digestive enzyme plus 5, maybe 6, no, 6 betadine HCl and pepsin capsules. And I'm still doing that at the moment.
Yeah, right. Is that something that you would recommend to people out there that are eating high caloric diets, high protein diets? Like Pepsin's a very, is it Pepsin or Pepsine? How do you pronounce it? I've always said Pepsin.
Pepsin.
Pepsin, but that's obvious. That's used to help break down proteins. Yeah.
Yeah,
More so,
that's
yeah.
right.
So I've always used that HCl with Pepsin. But is that something that you would recommend for anyone to do, or is it, let's just say, is this something that you're going to do moving forward, not just for your own health, but for your bodybuilding needs?
Yeah, I mean, look. This is not the first time this has happened to me. I mean, since 2013, this has happened to me 4 times, and has prevented me from getting up on stage 4 times. So it's obviously something that I've been doing incorrectly in the past. It's also partly a genetic disposition, because my mother and my grandmother have always had digestive issues. And I guess just, with the type of work I do, and the stresses that are involved in my work, and just dealing with individuals that play, and also training, that also plays a major role in the health of your gut. And obviously your gut health becomes even more important when you're in a caloric deficient state. So it's definitely something that, I've become more acutely aware since 2013, and I thought I was on top of it, but unfortunately, there was a number of stressful incidences sort of early February that basically just started it all up for me, and another thing that sort of started up for me was that I don't do very well on refeeds, in the sense that when I do a refeed, it has to be very, very structured. You have to tell me exactly how much to eat, otherwise I will go off the board. Like, I was doing refeeds where I was after training, I'd have my my ATP infrared with my ATP no way and the ATP essential amino acid blend, and then I'd basically have a refeed of 16 sushi rolls and a can of Coke, and then I'd wait an hour, and then I'd eat my next meal. So just eating that large amount of food just caused too much of an inflammatory response in my stomach, and my stomach just couldn't take it. I couldn't digest it all.
Did you feel like it took a while for your body to have that inflammatory response? Like you could handle it great the first few weeks, and then after a few weeks after that, because that's exactly the same happens to me all the time. I feel like I can handle all of these calories and think, my body's just assimilating all of these protein and carbs and everything in a great way, and then all of a sudden my body straight away inflammatory response. Yeah. Interesting. Hopefully someone out there is going to learn a bit from that. You obviously are going to change the way you prep moving forward. Have you got any plans moving forward? Are you going to do another show?
Mate, the scolding I got from my missus from getting sick again. I'm not too sure yet. I mean, first I just want to get back into the gym. You know what I mean? And just start training, get back into a normal regime for me. I mean, I did my first morning walk cardio session yesterday morning. That felt good for half an hour. So I hope in another 2 weeks I'll be having my first workout. So I'm just take it one day at a time and just, regain the strength, regain that momentum, and we'll see. We'll see.
Hopefully we'll see you up there very soon. Mr. Thomas, how was your weekend? It's been a while. Well, we speak every day, but it has been a while since we've spoken on Skype. So tell us a little bit about your weekend. To my understanding, you were at the WBFF show with a few clients.
Yeah, so been a busy few weeks, man. Like a bit of a roll on from the Arnolds, and then had 5 athletes preparing for this WBFF show. So kind of had a little bit of a half breather after the Arnolds and the qualifiers and that there, and that was a busy time. And so WBFF on the weekend. That was a big weekend, obviously. Registration nights and red carpet events and all that sort of stuff, and then a big show on the Saturday. So at the casino there, which is just an incredible venue. I'm sure Mick's been in there before as himself. So
I think Mick's been kicked out of there a few times.
Not out of the auditorium where they have the comps, mate. Out of the casino, yes, but not out of that part. No, Chris is right. It's friggin' amazing.
Yeah, so it was a good show and busy show, and I've got to say thanks to Ari and Pauline, obviously. VIP seats down the front and all the rest of it. We got the bird's eye view at the front of the stage, and they look after me, so it was good, and it was a well-run show. So had a couple of hundred athletes, and all in all, it was a good weekend. Tiring weekend, but very, very good. So.
They're a big spectacle, those WBFF shows. They're not your typical bodybuilding show.
No, it's a big event in the way it's run, and the lights and the music and the whole thing's pumping. It's a spectacle. It really is. So and as I said, Ari's he gets amongst it, mate. He talks to everyone, walks around. He's a lot like you, Gretch. He runs a pretty good show, mate.
Thanks, mate. Mr. Mick Galley, all the way over there in the States. Excuse the noise in the background. My missus is just rocked up and she's making so much noise. Keep it down.
She can't help herself, can she?
No, she can't.
She
can't. She's giving me dirties now. What's happening over the other side of the planet, mate?
It's 5. You know what? I'm not a morning person at all. It's 5 a.m.
You look great for a morning person. Like you.
I did my hair just for you.
Oh, so did I. I just made sure I had a fresh shave.
And then I figured, what time does Jimmy get up every morning?
Jimmy, it depends on what mood he's in. So if he's in a bad mood and he's telling everyone how hard he works, he'll get up at 2 a.m. to start work at 3. And it's different every day.
Okay, all right. I thought I better not silk because Jimmy gets up at fucking. I thought it was 1 or 1:30, but good. Fuck. I feel like I've got not much to report, but then heaps to report. But I ended up training at. I told you guys anyway. I ended up training at Ronnie Coleman's gym on Sunday.
Yeah, how's that?
The old Metro. It's only about 40 minutes from my house. I googled it on maps. I went, fuck, it's just down the road. So I thought I'd take a drive out there. It's everything you'd expect it to be. If you watch those DVDs back in the day, Ronnie, all the time, and the gym's exactly how you would picture it. It's pretty full on in there. There was some big boys in there. So I just did my thing, did a bit of back and looked around and, that was pretty awesome. But apart from that, things are good. I'm actually home June the 10th because I've got another interview with the embassy. So I had to do a follow-up one. So I've come home. So I could be there for a few days or a week. I'm not sure yet. So
Queensland?
Melbourne.
Oh, Melbourne.
There's only two. Yeah, there's one in Sydney and one in Melbourne.
Okay.
So, I'll go there. But I will be up in Queensland for a few days to in the office. So I'll catch up with Big Chris. That'll be good. We can get a train session in, but apart from that, all good.
Nice.
All good.
Let's talk bodybuilding because there's a lot happening in the bodybuilding world since we last spoke. Biggest thing probably to rock the whole bodybuilding world, especially here in Australia. I don't know if you've heard, Gally, and it's pretty much affected every bodybuilder in the country, is the inflation and the cost of blueberries. How do you, Andre, how do you feel? Do you have blueberries in your diet, and are you suffering from the $10 a 125 gram punnet cost now?
Honestly, I probably earn more than you do, so the answer is no.
You're Russian. Hey, I don't know. I'm still buying 5 a week, but you are Russian, yeah. So,
honestly, no. Look, when it comes to food, I never even look at prices. If I'm eating it,
Yeah, I'm the same, but it was $2.50 a few weeks ago, and they're up to $10. That's pretty fucking.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous,
Yeah.
Gally. You're so lucky you live on the other side of the planet right now. Nothing worse could happen to this country, Chris.
I saw your status.
Chris, wait, how you feeling? Because you look depressed.
Well, no, I'm not a blueberry person, so I'm going okay with it. I kind of stick to bananas and apples, pretty basic shit. So yeah,
Swap the raspberries.
The raspberries are furry. They're disgusting because I put them in my oats. I've gone back to eating oats. And raspberries are like, they've got that furry texture. They're disgusting. Mate, fuck, don't even try and start me with that shit. They're disgusting.
How about dates?
I'm not 100 years old. I don't need to improve
Yeah,
my
but
bowel
you're-
movements.
But you're an Arab. You know what I mean? Don't all Arabs eat dates?
I'm not an Arab.
So you Maltese, bro.
I'm not Arab. Let's go through some of it. I might look a little bit Arab at the moment. Have you seen this scar on my head, Andre? It's really bothering me. So I got that cyst taken off my head, but that scar is a lot more noticeable than the cyst now.
Doesn't Mrs. work in plastic surgery?
Yeah, and she referred me to this plastic surgeon.
I told you not to.
You be quiet and you mind your own business. Cook me some eggs.
Yeah, you're an Arab 100% now. From that comment you just said.
No, I didn't throw anything at her, so I'm not Arab. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. All right, let's talk about the first topic, the wellness division coming to the Pro League. This was a different move. It's not something that I expected. Chris, what are your thoughts on the new wellness division introduced by the IFBB Pro League?
mate, I haven't read much about it, so I saw when you guys mentioned it. So what's the criteria? Can someone give me a rundown of what it is?
Do you know, Gally?
Bottom.
I think, isn't it more to do with
Is it a more muscular
arse and
look?
legs? I'm not sure. Bob Ciccarello, Chris, actually did a really good interview the other day, and he was paying out all the women, because obviously Bob Ciccarello MCs all the comps, and was paying out all the women that have no idea what the wellness is. And he said, "Listen, why don't you look at Google?" So I don't know. I guess that's my answer. Look at
isn't
Google.
We should probably get Tony on and he can explain it a little bit more. But to my understanding, I think it's a much more thicker lower body, so a more muscular looking physique.
Yeah.
Is it a more advanced physique than what bikini is muscularly?
I think
In the
that's-
legs and
I think that's
The
the
legs and glutes will be.
Yeah, go on, Andre.
I think it's going to be just more muscular development in the lower body, i.e., calves, quads, hamstrings, glutes.
I think that's the intention of it. I know that with the old IFBB, the elite, I think it's more become a division for girls who aren't ready to be in a bikini division. So it's more like that transition type. Oh, look, you're not really ready to be in bikini. We'll put you in wellness.
So basically, from a experience level, it's basically going to be an entry level, is it?
No. I'm talking about how elite have kind of approached it. But I think the intentions of that category are for girls who have that more muscular looking physique. So it's going to be interesting because it's like, I don't know where you'd put it. Would you put it in between bikini and figure? Because I think they're still going for the same softness as they would in bikini, but maybe the same muscular structure, but not as much muscle as figure. That's my understanding of where it'll fit. But it's interesting. It's interesting that it's been introduced.
Yeah, look, I think a new category is fair enough, provided the criteria is far enough away from the existing categories. I think that what they need to be a little bit careful of, not just them, any federation needs to be a little bit careful that if a person fits a criteria, then they shouldn't place well in another criteria. So
they shouldn't be allowed to do another category within that within that what do you call it, bracket.
Well,
if you're going to do wellness bikini, you can't do normal bikini.
Yeah, you're
You know what I mean?
going to use the example as classic physique and bodybuilding. Yeah, Chris?
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, so I mean, I understand there's obviously going to be exceptions. So I mean, obviously, if someone is classic and they're exceptionally good at that classic shape and they fit that criteria, yet they're muscled enough and they're good enough, they can also place well in bodybuilding. But I'm just a little bit concerned that that there should be a very clear-cut difference between categories, and it's not just them, all of them, I think. And I think, isn't that the point of having different categories?
Exactly right.
You gotta-
Definitely.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What we will do is we'll organise for an episode with either Michael Buhner or Tony Doty to come on and kind of explain the criteria a little bit more clearly to everyone. So girls who are coming up to these upcoming shows and coaches, of course, know the criteria, know what their judges are looking for, and know exactly who fits into that particular category. So it's good. Like, a new category is always good. It's always adds some sort of element of excitement and makes it.
When's this going to take effect? When's this going to start? When's that open to?
I don't know if it'll be introduced at these state shows. It might be. It might be introduced at the state qualifiers next year. But we'll when we get them on the show, we'll ask them that very question. So we'll remember that question and see whether or not they'll get introduced earlier than expected. There's no reason why it can't. But it's only really girls who have. I don't think there's many girls out there who are specifically waiting for this category to get introduced so they can compete in that category. Do you know what I mean? Like classic physique, there were so many people waiting for classic physique, and when it finally came to Australia, they were like, this is what I've been training for. I don't think there's many girls out there that are thinking, this is what I've been training for. Maybe there's girls that are particularly suited to it, but we'll see what happens anyway. Next topic, we'll start with you, Gully, the Pittsburgh Pro. There's a bit of controversy all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, with the guest poses and the physiques they displayed. And I can see both sides of the story. The physiques that they displayed were extremely off-season looking physiques, especially Sean Roden. And he got ripped to shreds a little bit on social media, and then he kind of come back and said, look, this is what I do in the off-season, this is how I maintain balance. I get fat. I don't care if you like it, I'm Mr. Olympia, and I'm going to come back looking just as good as what I did last year. What are your thoughts? And what are your thoughts on the whole thing, whether or not they were good enough to be on stage, and whether or not it's something that they probably should have just left behind?
I think all of them, say Bonac and Brandon. Who else is up there?
Rowley.
Rowley. They all look really good, but then again, they'd only just competed a couple of months ago, so they weren't really in that sort of real off-season fluffy part. I think Sean, as much as I love Sean. I think he's such a cool guy, but I can see where he's coming from. Maybe that's his off-season, that's what he does. But I think now that Sean's Mr. Olympia, and he's got that title, which is a pretty prestigious title to have, you've got to carry a certain look about you as well at all times, I think. So that would be my only thing. I think as the reigning Mr. Olympia, that's promoting our sport from the top. I think maybe a better look should have been shown. Or
maybe fair enough. Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but he doesn't necessarily need to carry that look all year round. But
no, I'm not saying that look, but a little bit more of a. I mean, last year when he guest posed, he was soft and fat again, but he had a fair bit more muscle on him. The comparison pictures between Pittsburgh last year and this year were quite different. So. That would be my only thing. I think that now that we're in the sport with you got the top guys in the world, maybe he should have just said something to Jim before the guest posing, saying, "Hey, I don't really want to guest pose, but how about I talk on stage."
I think that's more of an idea. Like, I don't think that him getting into that type of condition is something that anyone can really judge him for. Like, what he chooses to do in the off season's his choice. As long as he produces the package on stage at the Olympia, then who cares really what he looks like? But yeah, maybe he should have just said no to the guest pose. What's your thoughts, Andre?
Look, he's Mr. Olympia. He can do what the fuck he wants. Do you know what I mean? End of story. You know, like that's the way I look at it. I mean, he's got his game. He's got his 12-month game plan. So to win the Olympia this year. So that's what it is.
Yeah, as a fan, though, if he came and guest post, say, at the New South Wales show and looked like that, would you as a fan have been disappointed, or would you have been totally understanding and said, look, he's Mr. Olympia, who gives a fuck, he can do whatever he wants?
Yeah, you got me on that one, haven't you, cunt? Yeah, look, as a fan, I would have been disappointed, sure, because you always want to see, the top 10 guys to be in Mickey Mouse condition year round. But, realistic from a health perspective, both mentally and physically, they can't do that. And a financial, perspective as well, So they're athletes, they're professional athletes. That's how they make their money. Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, it's tough to say where his mind where his mindset is at the moment, and what his game plan is exactly when he starts prepping for the Olympia. You know, whether he's injured, who knows? Do you know what I mean? Whether he's having downtime because he's got some family issues that he doesn't want to talk about, who knows?
I think he's just having downtime so he can spend time with his daughter, with his kids.
Yeah.
That's it. Chris, would you have been a disappointed fan? What would you have done in his position? Would you have just sat it out? Because, like, we know you for start, like, you like to get really, really fat in the off season. Like, look at you now. You're probably the worst person to ask. You're shredded all year round. But if you were in Sean's condition, would you have sat that one out?
Look, I agree with all you guys. Like, I think that the off season, I'm not promoting getting fat per se, but I'm promoting health definitely. So I think that that needs to occur. I don't think that they should be maintaining some ridiculous level year round. It's unrealistic. As a fan, yes, that's the hard part. You'd be disappointed having a look at him in a set of trunks like that. But as a bodybuilding fan, I would have preferred to have seen him in a tracksuit and a big baggy shirt and just seen him looking like he's 120 Ks and listening to him speak. I think that would have been probably a bit more appropriate. So it's a tough one, man. Like, when you guest pose, as a fan, you want people within a certain level of condition. But at the same time, it's very unrealistic. This guy's going to do one show in a year, and that's the benefit of him obviously being Mr. Olympia. He just does that show and that's it. He's not going to be in near on show shape year round, and I think that's the unrealistic part. So I vote he should have, not he should have. It's hard to say. If he's comfortable with it, good luck to him. But I would have, as a fan, I would have liked to listen to him talk, I think.
Speaking of getting fat in the off season, where's Timmy McKinnon?
You stick your head around there, Tim?
He's eating.
Yes.
What's happening, fat boy? Don't pretend like you're talking to clients on your computer. We're on Red Tube.
Hang on a second. I've just been the pizzas, so
Order pizzas. What's happening, mate? What's the plans with you? A lot of people are expecting you to hop on stage and give the Nationals a bit of a run this year. Are you going to pull out with some piss poor excuse again, or are you actually going to give it a crack?
too lean. No, I'm doing the season B. So plans to do amateur Olympia and then season B after that.
Oh, you're allowed in America. It's like we normally, for this group here, there's not many of us that are allowed overseas. So yeah, welcome, I guess.
I'll look after you, Timmy.
So that's another guy hopping on stage at the Amateur Olympia. That's awesome. So you'll be going up against Logan.
And Chris is prepping, what's his name?
Michael Lucy's playing the same thing. Yeah, so he's playing in the same thing, and mate. I think the supers. Everyone talks about the supers every year, but you've got to think about what's seems to be happening and the way it's lining up for the end of the year. Tim, Logs, Michael Lucy. Lucy is just, mate. Lucy's 130 kilos in shape as well.
Have you ever trained with Lucy?
No, I'm too frightened to, man.
I've trained with him with legs, and it wasn't a fun day at all. Yeah, yeah. He's a different type of mental.
Yeah. But watching Tim stiff leg about 240 the other day, with serious tempo. I mean, that was pretty much. I went home.
Yeah, can imagine. Awesome. So obviously you got to qualify for the stage show. How many weeks? Oh no, wait. So the Amateur Olympia will be before the stage show. So how many weeks out? How many weeks out are you from the Amateur Olympia?
It's like 19, I think, or 18. Yeah,
it's creeping up on you, mate.
It's 15 until Bendigo.
Yeah, it's just over 15 weeks to Bendigo. So Queensland's I think 20 weeks, 4 days, something like that. So the Amateur Olympia will be in between that period. So I'm saying probably 18 weeks. I would think.
Yeah, well, Amateur Olympia is exactly 2 weeks after. Yeah, 18 this weekend.
Yeah.
You better start prep, Gally, because if you're going to be hanging around these guys at the pool parties, you don't want to look out of shape.
I'll be anywhere near. But
You don't want to pull out your Sean Roden guest poses look.
I won't have any choice. I won't be the sure right.
We'll move on. You can stick around, Timmy, if you want. We'll get your opinion on a few things if you know.
Hard work.
Actually, Timmy, what's your opinion of the guest posing?
My opinion.
Yeah.
I reckon there's a lot of pressure, obviously Mr. Olympia, there's a lot of pressure to look a certain way, and I think he's probably just trying to make a point, maybe.
I reckon maybe if you're saying that, I reckon if he is trying to make a point, it's a point of I don't give a fuck. This is what I look like. This is what I'm happy about. Yeah.
Like, I'll do whatever I want. So,
yeah.
See ya.
Yeah, good on him. Look,
yeah.
We're never going to argue with him anyway. Phil Heath. So he's looking like he's in good shape. Josh posted some pretty cool videos of him and Phil training, or on stage actually, next to each other. I don't know what they were promoting, some company. But he looks like he's in shape. He looks like he's bigger than ever. And he looks like he's possibly doing the O. Gally, do you think he's going to do it?
I reckon he might be.
Yeah?
Yeah. He's definitely in striking range to start. Well, it may have started prep now, but all these videos, he looks good. He's very good off-season shape. He's big. I guess it just depends how he's gone with that stomach, and only he can know that. But I'd love to see him in the mix because that'll make it exciting again. It really will.
Do you think that he's not announcing anything and he's keeping it very secret because he wants to see how he looks before he actually makes that commitment? Because I'm sure he's a pro. It's the Olympia. There's a contract to sign. But I don't think the promoters are going to really be upset with Phil holding off to the very last minute to jump on stage because it's going to add that excitement factor, and everyone's going to be excited whether or not Phil competes or not. It's only going to add that extra element to the competition. So do you think that's what he's doing? Maybe keeping it under wraps until he actually has a look at himself and thinks, yeah, all right, I'm good enough to win this?
I think he'll get to a certain leanness. It's all going to depend on that stomach. So if he's done whatever's necessary or that surgery went well and he gets leaner and looks at it and goes, you know what, I'm good. And hopefully he gets a second opinion from someone, at a real, someone with a good critical eye, because he's definitely in striking distance to do it. Like his size, he's humongous at the moment.
Hopefully his missus isn't the one in his corner giving him advice.
Yeah.
Andre. What do you reckon he's going to do it or not?
I think financially he can't do it.
He can't?
Nah, I don't think financially he can afford to do it.
Why? Because you think it's a bad business decision?
Yeah, I think if you don't win the Olympia, you basically lose that much money in preparing for it. Yeah, I mean, have you seen on Instagram how many of the top pros now are doing 6-8 week challenges? They're opening up their online coaching businesses. Phil Heath is one of them. You know what I mean? Like he must be suffering financially because he didn't win the O last year.
Yeah, but do you think that's him, or it's just a marketing team on the outskirts saying, look, we're paying you this amount of money, we're just going to do this, and this? It's not Phil that's writing these programs, obviously.
Who knows?
No.
Who knows? You know what I mean?
Do you reckon? Yeah, but when you say financially he can't do it, do you think that the risk of losing would be detrimental to him financially, or?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think from losing the Olympia, he would have lost a lot of, sponsorship deals.
Yeah, but then losing this one again, do you think? Yeah, it'll be that much worse. Mm.
Yeah.
Chris, Timmy.
Do we think he'll do it?
What do you think he's doing? Yeah, do you think he's doing it? And if he does do it, let's mix it up. If he does do it, how do you think he'll go?
Well, mate, if the stomach's okay and that's sorted and it's not going to be like what it was, mate, he's not done. Straight up, he'll win it again. He'll win it again if his stomach's right. There's no one. It doesn't matter. Like Roden was amazing and deserved win and all the rest of it, but there's still no one like Phil. There isn't. Yeah, like Phil. Yeah, I did well there. Yeah.
I reckon he's like the most freaky person in off season as well because a lot of those guys, even like Roden, it looks a certain way for preps, whereas Phil looks just stupid still now. I don't think anyone can beat him at all.
But Andre's correct though. What Andre's saying, I think for him to lose it the way he did, with there being extenuating circumstances, right? Now, if he doesn't come back when the time's right and he loses it a second time, then that confirms then that it's final, if you get what I mean. So do understand the angle Andre's coming from. So if he's 100% certain and he's 100% in shape, then he'll pull the trigger, man. That would have hurt him, and he's got a lot of pride, so he's not done.
Well, Kai did the same thing, and if Kai says anything different, he's full of shit, because he hopped on stage at the Olympia. Well, I think it was the year he placed second, and then he did the show a couple of weeks later and then walked off on stage, but everyone was talking about him possibly placing fourth. What show was that, Gully? Where he walked on stage and then walked off.
I know what you mean, yeah. One of the ones overseas, one of the Europe ones.
Yeah. Was it the Europe Olympia? Remember how they had that one Olympia in Europe? Anyway. But we know for a fact that Kai did that because we knew how detrimental that was going to be to his image and his persona and everything that he projects in a business sense. So, yeah, I completely understand because Phil's the same thing now. Phil's a brand. So, and Sean Roden, I wouldn't label Sean Roden as a brand as of yet. He's just a guy competing at Mr. Olympia. Another one, Big Ramy. So we don't even know if Big Ramy is doing it. He hasn't qualified yet. He's doing Ramadan at the moment. So I think he's planning on doing a show after he finishes his fasting. Chris, Timmy, what about Ramy? Do you think he'll get on stage, or do you think he's done?
I don't think he's done, but once again, he's got to come back with something different, and he's got to do something different. Like, people keep talking about making changes and looking different and whatever. Well, unless you do something different or go somewhere you haven't been before, you're never going to look any different, are you? And 1 year he rocks up and he's in a little bit better shape, and people get all excited. And next year he rocks up and he's the same as what he was every other time. Something needs to change, and he's got this shoulder injury he's talking about. So who knows how serious that is, and how much that's going to hamper him. But
be good to see an Olympia where everyone just focuses on condition.
Yeah,
just that alone.
Yeah, I heard Ramy is real punish to work with though. I think he doesn't listen to what his coaches tell him, and then he's that client that goes to other coaches for advice halfway through prep. And this is what I've been told. I don't know how true it is, but Gally, do you think Ramy? What does he need to do different? Obviously, he needs to come in leaner from the back. But
what you said, he needs to find that one coach to and stick with him, because he's back and forth between Ramy and George Farrer and all these other guys. I don't think, even if Ramy does get through whatever it is he is at the moment and does Tampa, I don't think we're going to see a great Ramy, and I think Dexter will win. And that keeps Ramy out of the Olympia. I think Ramy's best bet is to like what was being said, shut it down and look for next year. There's obviously something going on that he's not being totally honest about. So I don't know.
See, someone's obviously not telling him what he wants to hear. Because the other thing too, like you can talk about him having multiple coaches, and I get that. That's a pisser, right? It really is. But that wouldn't occur, right, if all those coaches weren't telling him what he wanted to hear. If someone told him what he needs to hear, then he wouldn't go with them. And that's the coach he needs to be with.
Mm.
It's really, really simple. So, and if you've got three of them blowing wind up his ass, they obviously all want to coach him for their own specific reasons.
So how can Ramy contact you, Chris?
Ramy, big alpha
#Alpha
Could you imagine that? What would you do with him if you were his coach?
Make him listen.
Andre, how do you reckon he'll go? Do you reckon he'll hop on stage?
From everything I've seen on Instagram, I mean, he's got a shoulder injury, but he doesn't need surgery. So it's obviously some form of tendinosis, might be, a grade 1 or grade 2 tear. I mean, obviously, to my understanding, he was going to go. His first show he was going to do was a Tampa Pro show, but he's pulled out of that because of the injury. Honestly, I mean, from the last 4 or 5 outings he's done at the Olympia, I've never been impressed with what he's presented on stage.
No.
As far as I'm concerned, his conditioning has always let him down. He's got to come in at least 10, maybe 12 pounds lighter than he's actually attempting to do.
Yeah.
And I think this is a problem with a lot of these bigger guys, that are hopping on stage at 115, 116, 117 kilos. When they're dieting, they just shit themselves when they see the scales and their body weight drop, and they just.
Andre,
yes.
Do you think it's also got something to do with when you look at Ramy back years ago when he came on the scene? The muscle was extremely rushed. It was put on very, very quickly, so it didn't really get that time to get that dense look either. So
yeah, that's true too. But like that. How long's he been in the?
I'm saying I don't think it'll come. I think when muscle's really, really rushed over a period of 1 to 2 years, I don't think even if you keep training for another 5 or whatever, you're still not going to get that same dense, hard look.
Maybe if he stops punching 50 units of Lantanis a fucking day, right? he might actually get that nice grainy look, right?
That's another option.
You know what I mean? Like that's another option.
Yeah.
Like fuck, that's the rumours that are float around, the internet and whatnot.
It's about what's that? About $1,000 a day?
But a grand in money.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You're the one.
Cartridge of Lantanis is like a box of Lantanis is like on PBS like $35.
Oh, okay, sweet. No.
Gretch, you should know. Gretch, come on.
I don't even know what Lantanis is. What's that? Protein?
With a face like that, you're not punching in insulin.
I don't know what you're talking about. Insulin. It's for diabetics, isn't it? So speaking about the Olympia, big Josh is he's qualified in what was the show that he won? It was the Big Boys.
The Spanish
Big Boy
one.
Weekend.
Big Boy Weekend. Interesting name for a competition. It's like Thailand. If Thailand had a comp, it'd be called the Big Boy Weekend, wouldn't it? Like, why is it a big boy? But yeah, he's obviously qualified, and it looks like he is in the right headspace and enjoying his time overseas. Still celebrating his win with his partner, who's pregnant, and we're allowed to announce it now. Congratulations, Josh. And your lovely wife, we knew back... Oh, actually, I don't even know if you picked up on that, Gally, when we had the interview in Melbourne, backstage.
He told us, remember?
Oh, did I ask him in front of you? I can't remember if I asked him in front of you, yeah. But anyway, so it looks like he's in a really good headspace, and I know there was a time where he was contemplating whether or not to actually go hard for the Olympia because he wanted to enjoy the pregnancy and do everything he needed to there, but obviously him and his wife have decided to give it a good crack, and he looks like he's in a good headspace. Boys, Chris, Timmy, what do you think about Josh? How do you think he'll go this year? And let's not just blow smoke up his ass. Let's legitimately think about where he'll place, because think about guys like Phil and Ramy who have placed ahead in previous years that might possibly not do this show. Josh is in a much better headspace leading into this one. They've given himself a lot of time to prepare for it. He's not rushed like he was the last time because he qualified really late. What are your thoughts? How do you reckon he'll go, and what does he need to do to bring his best package?
Oh yeah, just condition again. Like just really nail that. I think he's top 5, top 3, maybe potentially. Yeah. If he comes in like exactly how he needs to, I reckon he can even win it.
How good? I can't imagine how good that would be. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Look, I agree. I think that I think all of them should be aiming for condition, Josh is huge, you know what I mean? And I think that when these guys, excuse me, are that big, the difference between them coming in a couple of kilos lighter versus a couple of kilos heavier, mate, it's irrelevant really on the scheme of things, except it means that much more in the overall look and the illusion that they have, I mean, the only thing, if Josh gets a little bit drier and harder through the glutes and the hams, that's it. You know what I mean? And if he does that, mate, he's deadly, and he's a contender. There's no two ways about it. He's a top 5 all day long. And once again, if he nails it, he's mixing it.
Andre, what does Josh have to do to crack top 3 at the Olympia?
I don't want to sound like a broken record here. But look, I agree with Tim and Chris. I mean, just condition. I mean, when we had a look, what he presented at the Spanish Pro Show, I mean, from the front, you couldn't fault him. I mean, you know, he was nice and full, he was nice and dry, his waist was nice and small, great separation. When he turned around from the back, I mean, he's put a lot more lean tissue mass on that upper back of his, but for me, he just faltered through the lower back, the glutes, and the hamstring. All right. Again, it's a conditioning issue, and again, I don't know whether or not it's, you know, just him where it's a size factor, right? Where he's worried about the numbers on the scale, or whether or not he can't see it because he prepped himself for that show. Apart from the last 3-4 days when Patrick Tudor basically hopped on helping him. So now that Patrick's helping him, Patrick will pull him in. You know what I mean? I've got no doubt from seeing what Patrick does, you know, with Aaron and with a lot of the 212 guys that he looks after in Kuwait and all around the world. Patrick's main criteria, it's all about conditioning and dryness.
Yeah, and after speaking to Aaron, Patrick's pretty hardcore, and doesn't implement any type of cheat meals or anything.
You'll only put in cheat meals if you need them.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, but I think that's exactly what Josh needs. I think that's the type of prep for the next whatever weeks Josh is going to need to come in that pristine condition. And if he's working with him throughout the entire prep, I'm actually really, really excited because I think we're going to see a completely different Josh that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah. What's your thoughts? Let's talk about that because you know that for a fact that Patrick's coaching him now, Gally, and Patrick's pretty much one of the Aussies. He's pretty much Aussie now because after coaching Aaron, Logan's getting prepped by him.
Yeah, Logan just joined.
Yeah, Timmy talks to him on the side when he's not talking to Chris. There's apparently he's had an influx of Aussies to contact him after Aaron's given him a good plug. So he'll be profiting a lot from that. But how do you think he'll go with a new coach underneath? His wing?
I agree with all you boys. I think it's the conditioning, which hopefully Patrick can rectify. But as we know with Aaron, like Patrick's really full on with his preps too. Like I think Aaron had one, maybe max 2 cheat meals in a 16 or 18 week period. And Josh loves his food. He admits that as well. That's his hardest thing that he finds during prep. So if he can get through that, which I hope he can, I think we'll see a whole new Josh come Olympia time. But he has to bring that conditioning because you look at the guys. We know Sean's going to be in shape. Doesn't matter what Sean looks like now. He will be in shape. Brandon will be next level. I guarantee you Brandon's going to bring something different in the Olympia. Bonac, those guys like that they all bring extreme conditioning that Josh is yet to match. So if he can do that, he'll be up there.
Let's finish off with all of these injuries that have happened in the sport. With you want to run through them, Gally, because there's a few that have it's like torn bicep for Antoine Valiant. Who else was there? There was a couple more that popped up. Who else tore their bicep not long ago? There's a couple of torn biceps.
Yeah.
Well, there's Rami with his shoulder injury. Then there's Anton with his bicep.
Oh, there was.
I feel for it.
What's the bald dude with the beard? What's his name? Looks a bit like Jimmy. Oh, fucking hell! What's his name? Same thing. Torn bicep. Oh, fucking hell! Gally, you're letting me down. But it'll come to me straight after we finish recording.
Where's he?
He was competing too. The Arab bloke. Fucking hell! Don't worry about it. Forget it. But who else is there injured, Gully? Because there was a list of people, wasn't there?
Well, I've got down here bicep tear for Antoine and Rami. That was it. That was my list of injuries. So I'm not sure what list you're looking at.
I thought that was funny.
You've got to feel sorry for Antoine though, don't you? Have you been watching his YouTube clips since his tear?
I saw him training chest and doing his one arm cable.
Yeah,
he didn't look happy.
Seen his hand? His hand is that swollen, obviously with all the blood and that getting around there. But he seems in good spirits. He's got a good team. You know, he lives with Frank McGrath and his coach Doran. is there all the time. So I think that's going to help him. I think if this happened to Antoine a couple of years ago, he may have spiraled out of control with his past history. But I think he'll be back better than ever. It seems like a pretty straightforward surgery. So yeah, I hope he does anyway, because the sport needs someone like him.
Yeah, no, he's pretty funny on his social media. All right, let's wrap it up, boys. When are you heading over to Thailand? Because I know Jimmy's pretty pumped about the fact that you guys are going to be there when he's there. When are you guys heading over?
Yeah, we're going over next Wednesday. So
Fuck you
we've
guys.
we've got a little bit of work to do as well. We've got some villas to have a look at as far as suitability goes for some projects we've got coming up, and some people to meet as far as cooking and other things, mate. So we've got a little bit of work to do, but it's like always. It'll be looking after our clients like we always do, but a little bit of R&R at the same time. It's kind of our version of a annual leave without actually having a holiday. So, and it's not a big stint. We're doing just over 2 weeks, 17 days. So it's not going to be any of these little month or 2 month tours that we've done in the past. We just don't have time, So, and we're going to move into World in Brisbane as an office as well when we get back as well. So that's got to do a fit out for the office in there, and Tim's going to occupy the space there with us as well. So
Nice.
it's coming up. So it's not. We're being big boys at the moment, mate. Not trying to stay away too long, and got a fair bit of things to do back here as well. So
Big boys, you mean as in adults?
we're adulting for the first time.
So
I'm
Timmy,
just looking forward to the pictures of Thailand.
the move to New South Wales is off the cards now.
Yeah.
I had a feeling that was just a spur of the moment emotional decision at the time.
Well, you said another girl, Timmy.
No, I just like hanging out with Gretchen.
Yeah, there you go. He spent one weekend with me and he was talking about moving states. Definitely wasn't Jimmy. All right, boys, we'll wrap it up. It's good to see you all again. Good to have you back, Andre, and good to see you healthy too. It's.
Can I also say, in regards to Andre, he doesn't send too many pictures around the place, but the condition that he was in, with only a few weeks to go, I think, apart from being sick, the disappointment would come from, and this is me telling you because I was lucky enough for him to send me some photos. The guy was enormous, man. 115 Ks in shape, and it's probably the best. I'm being honest, probably the best I've seen you look, mate, and you know that.
It wasn't.
So,
there's no probably about it. He was 100% the best he ever looked, and I without blowing smoke up his ass, I wanted to I made a fact of him knowing that he would have won the overalls in my opinion at whatever state show he competed in.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I mean, but shit happens. You know what I mean? That's bodybuilding.
Health first, but I'm as a mate and a good mate, I was disappointed for you. As I said, I was getting weekly shots, and they were pretty impressive week to week. So
you were disappointed for him. I was disappointed in you. I reckon you let us down. I reckon you're a pussy. And what can I say? Like, if you're a real man, you just want to push through.
Road skills.
Looking forward to the big fella being on the Gold Coast for the weekend. That was the best part.
Yeah, true.
I was actually looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Next time, mate. Next time. All right, boys. Thanks again. We'll catch up, if not next week, in a couple of weeks when there's enough to talk about in the bodybuilding world. Hopefully, the prices of blueberries would have dropped by then. But we'll keep everyone. I'll keep you posted, Gally. Like I'll send you daily updates and see.
Oh, mate, I'm really looking forward to those updates.
We've cracked $10, and I'm not happy. 125 grand punnet. It's fucking bullshit.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
That is.
I'm going to get emotional.
Start growing your own.
I've got a balcony. You want to have a look at the size of my balcony? Where am I going to grow?
You can set up a greenhouse in there. You can put like a couple of fucking plants in there with a hydroponic setup.
I'll still live in Penrith, mate. When people set up greenhouses in Penrith, I'll have helicopters surrounding me. Not going to happen, mate. All right, boys. Thanks again. Thanks for listening. Anyone that watches this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and press like and don't leave any bad comments underneath, please. All right. Too easy, boys. Catch us all later. See you.